Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being part of our program. Here we are together again on the radio. And generally, we talk about other people in the news. But if you looked at the Los Angeles Times, you may have seen that once again, I am in the news. I did not try to be in the news. I am in the news because, in my opinion, an elderly, lonely man with a lot of free time on his hands. Just my opinion, of course. Decided to go out and file a frivolous lawsuit. It's one I have referred to on the air as a frivolous lawsuit many times. And the proof is in the pudding, as you can see in this story in the Los Angeles Times. You may not have been aware of this. Over the last couple of years, I have been the victim of 2 frivolous lawsuits. I have prevailed at every step in the process. But some people are just so bitter and so desperate for attention that they continue to, try to come at me. Because this person is so desperate for attention, I'm going to read the story, but I'm going to delete his name from the story. I do not want to give him any publicity at all. Plus, anything I say about him will probably end up in the next lawsuit. Because, in my opinion, and my opinion is protected by the First Amendment to the United States Constitution, this is somebody who 40 years ago was in the public eye. Now he whiles away his later days employing an attorney to try to make my life miserable so that he can get publicity for himself. Unfortunately for him, I understand Celebrity Justice has just gone off the air. That's the last place I saw him talking about this. Celebrity Justice tried to interview me to talk about this, and I refused to participate. So, again, if you want to see the story and the name of the person, I guess you'll read it in the Los Angeles Times, but I'm banking that most of you are too lazy to read the paper, and therefore I'll read you the story, but you don't get the person's name. And believe me, most of you wouldn't know him anyway, since our audience is much younger than the ilk that would know this guy's name. No point mentioning his name. Here is the story. Comedian has suffered another legal setback in his age discrimination dispute with syndicated radio talk show host Tom Leykis. The California Supreme Court, without comment, declined last week to hear his appeal of 2 lower court rulings that went against the comedian. The lower courts had held that Leykis and Westwood One Broadcasting Services did not discriminate against her when the comedian phoned Leykis' talk show in June 2003, posing as a 60-year-old man named Paul Russo, and was told the program didn't want seniors calling in. Actually 65. Oh, is actually 65, sorry. According to transcripts, did you bleep that? Oh, good, Brett. Brett bleeped it. I slipped and said the guy's name. Did not intend to give him any free publicity. It says here, according to transcripts of the call, Leykis told Russo that his age did not fit with the show's efforts to attract younger, single listeners. Of course, anybody who knows this show knows I don't use the word single. That indicates an air of desperation. People who call themselves single are the kind of people who go on singles cruises. Or they go to Jewish singles night at the local synagogue. That's the word single. That's what the word single connotates to me. Or connotes to me. I prefer the word unmarried. Anyway. Story goes on. He quotes me as saying, "You're way too old, Pops. Call a big band station. Call somebody else, please. Don't call here. It's called targeted demographics." That's what I was quoted as saying. And you know what? I did say that. That's right. Who co-starred in the 1962 ABC sitcom, I'm Dickens, He's Fenster. Remember that one? You don't? By the way, you know who H's co-star on that show was? I'll give you an idea of how old this show is. H's co-star on the show was a guy named John Aston. This was years before he did The Addams Family. That's how old that show is. I'm not kidding. Yeah. And is married to actress Shirley Jones. I'll mention Shirley Jones. I think her last big gig was The Partridge Family. Anyway, filed suit against Leykis and Westwood One in 2003, charging age discrimination. Both the trial judge who heard the case and the State Court of Appeals ruled against affirming defense arguments that the radio show has a First Amendment right to control the content of its program. Robert Klein. You have the sound of an ambulance there, Brett? Anything resembling a siren? Fire truck would be good. That kind of sounds like an ambulance. Go ahead. And maybe some footprints? Some footsteps running after the fire truck there? There you go. I would hate to give the impression of ambulance chasing, because that would be wrong. It would just be expressing an opinion, though, wouldn't it? Of course it would. Robert Klein, his attorney, said he, quote, was a little disappointed, but not surprised by the state Supreme Court's decision, since the justices routinely declined to hear petitions for review. But it was a necessary step if decides to appeal the case, get this, to the U.S. Supreme Court, which he has vowed to do. Can you imagine the U.S. Supreme Court wasting time on a case like this over whether a 68-year-old man, by the way, he's not 65, he's 68, a 68-year-old man can call a radio show? I mean, this is total insanity, in my opinion. Total insanity. You've got to be kidding. We have the right to control who gets on the air. Telephone screeners are as old as talk radio itself. We have a right to decide whether people have the energy to get on the air, whether they are paying attention to the program, whether they are drunk or sober, whether they are conforming to whatever it is we're talking about. And honestly, we want callers who sound like the listeners we're trying to appeal to. What is wrong with that? There are countless talk radio programs for people whose age. If who wants to get on the air, who can call KABC, KRLA, KLAC, KFI, any of the sports radio stations. He can call KCRW, KPCC. That's just L.A. He can get himself a satellite radio. He can call any of the satellite radio shows, okay? This show is for young men. Sometimes people who don't fit the demographic are on the show because they are there to prove a point. We do have women on the show, and occasionally elderly people are on the show. But generally speaking, they're not. And the reason is because generally we are trying to put callers on the air who sound like the audience we're trying to appeal to. This is not a public forum. This is not a public park. It's a private business. And I will talk about the issues I care about, and I will put the callers on that I want to talk to. And it's those I deem entertaining and appealing for any number of reasons. My job is to attract a large audience of young men to listen to this show. That's my job. And it blows me away that there's people out there who would file a lawsuit to try to take away my right to decide what goes on the air. It's outrageous. Do you think I'm wrong?
Tom Leykis.
Tom Leykis?
Leykis.
Leykis.
1-800-5800-TOM.
It's Ed on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello, Dad.
Hello, Ed, on the father you never had.
Damn right.
The Tom Leykis Show.
Tom Leykis Show. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Yeah, take a look. I'm in the LA Times there. And this lawsuit failed again. Again. Trying to sue me. Trying to sue me because I don't like having old people on the show. Tough luck. It's Jim on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello, Tom.
Hello, Jim.
How you doing today, buddy?
Do you care?
Oh, yeah.
I'm doing great.
I feel like we've passed the torch and you're carrying it on. I'm glad to hear you're on. Been listening to you since you first started. Long time, first time. But this guy's out of his friggin' mind. Wasting time. This is like old people do. I mean, he hasn't got anything else to do except sit on the radio and try to talk to you about stuff that he doesn't even remember what the hell it's about.
Well, that's my point. I'd rather be talking to guys who are having sex.
Exactly.
I don't know. Maybe he is having sex, but most guys his age aren't doing it as often as they used to be.
Well,
most guys.
Falling asleep, you know what I'm saying? But, yeah, I'm an older guy, and I've been listening to you since you came on, and I think you're great, but there's been a few times I wanted to call up, but I'm not in the demographic. I know where I sit, so I'm listening and enjoying. If he doesn't like it, that's what the knob's for.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah, so, you're doing a good job, and this guy, I don't know where his brain's at, but it's obviously...
Well, again, these are your tax dollars at work. This is what they're spending tax money on, is trying to decide whether old people have a fundamental constitutional right to call any radio program they choose.
Tell him to go down to the old YMCA and take dance lessons for free. They give it to seniors down there instead of bothering you on the air. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Thanks a lot for the call. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. This is Tyler on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello, Tyler.
Hello, Tom.
What up?
Nothing much, brother. Hey, this guy's a complete moron. He needs to go change his depends and do something else with his life.
Yeah.
This is your radio show, man. You can talk about whatever you want. No questions asked.
Well, not only whatever I want to talk to whoever I want.
Well, within reason, of course.
It's my show.
It is your show. You're the man, Tom.
I don't want to talk to who.
I wouldn't either, man. This guy obviously doesn't know what he's talking about or what he's doing. And it's your show, man. I love your show just the way it is. You talk about to whoever and about whatever.
Tyler, thank you.
Can you take me out old school?
Here you go. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. This is Joe on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello, Tom.
Hello, Joe.
Dad, I need to vent.
All right.
These old, fat, and ugly people are ruining America. Who are they to dictate our business? I mean, even like your last topic, your last hour. I mean, this old man is he's trying to dictate what you put on your show. The fat people want to work at Hooters or what is that name of the restaurant, Joey's? Come on,
yeah.
That's not the nature of the business.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, these people are. Jesus Christ. Somebody walks into a retail shop for baseball and they want to sue the place because they can't play baseball anymore because they can't buy the equipment. What's next? Jesus.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, we're trying to do a show for young guys. Do you want to hear the same old people who call political talk shows on AM radio all the time?
No,
calling this show?
Dad.
We're trying to do a different kind of show.
Exactly. And you do it the way that you want to do it, Tom, and I'll keep listening, buddy. you take me out some kind of old school style, buddy.
All right, Joe. Here you go. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. This is Chris on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom.
Hey.
First time, long time.
Thank you.
This is crazy. I know who you're talking about now because you said that he was married to Shirley Jones. That's the only thing that I would know him from. But this whole concept is just crazy. They have 55 and over communities. I mean, are you going to now sue and try and get in there?
Well, you're right about that, and frankly, I'd like to know how that's legal. How is it legal to have a community like Sun City where nobody under 50 or 55 is allowed to live?
Yeah, that's constitutional, but trying to determine your own show, that's not constitutional. I don't understand that.
I agree with you. In fact, by the way, I think you should be able to have a community with no children. I think you should be able to have a community with no old people or no young people. You should be able to do that.
That's what makes our country great.
There's plenty of places for people to go.
That's it. That's what I want to say.
Thank you for the call. I appreciate it. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. In case you're just tuning in, I have been a victim of a frivolous lawsuit in which a listener who was a public figure back in the 60s, yes, I said the 1960s, is suing because I told him he was too old to be on this show. Suing me and the network. Amazing. John, on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom, how you doing? Hey, I'm an old guy, and I'm going to file a lawsuit against the NFL because, yeah, I'm slow, and I can't jump, and I can't lift weights, but, damn it, I want to play, so I think I ought to sue them for the right to play. What do you think?
Well, again, you know, people are suing for everything nowadays. Everybody's going to be a victim of a lawsuit at some time.
Oh,
I've been a victim of 2 frivolous lawsuits in the last 3 years.
Yep. And that's my point. You know what? Just because you don't have it, you don't have it. Live with it and go on.
By the way, both of these suits, the previous suit that I was involved in, is over something I said on the air in 1998. And this is 2005. No, but it's still being appealed.
Well,
it's still going.
It's run by old people. Remember, they got to promote their jobs. They got to.
And now this thing is for something that happened in 2003. It's been thrown out of court twice. And now he's talking about going to the U.S. Supreme Court. I don't get it. Get a life, you old man. Get a life, you pathetic old man.
Hey, thank
pathetic.
You.
Thanks. Appreciate the call. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. It's Scott on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom, how's it going?
It's going fine.
That's good. Hey, I just wanted to ask you something. What you thought was, who's the bigger idiot, the guy who wants the lawsuit or the guy who took the case?
Well, the guy who took the case is going to get paid.
Well, yeah, but does he think he's going to win something?
I don't think he cares. He cares about getting paid. That's his job.
Yeah, I guess so, but that just seems kind of, I think it would be a mark against it. Don't attorneys work on the fact that, you know, they win so many cases? Makes them a better attorney?
Well, I don't think we're talking about the Dream Team member here. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, yeah, somebody for a quick buck, but seems like it'd be kind of stupid to take the case because he knows he's going to lose.
But I got to tell you that this whole thing is just, it's blowing my mind to think about. By the way, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if he's trying to call it again.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this seems like an idiot to me.
You know, the next time he gets on the air, he's going to sign a release. And that's going to say that anything he says can and will be used against him, and that he can't sue me anymore, ever. And if he doesn't agree to that, he'll never get on the air again. Never, never, never.
That's right. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you. Appreciate the call. Eric on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Tom, how's it going?
Okay, Eric.
Got a question for you.
Yeah.
I'm assuming this guy was after some money, right?
He didn't say.
Okay.
But he keeps telling the newspapers, we're going to make law. We're going to make law. I'm telling you, we're going to make law. We're going to make law. We're going to say that old people can't be discriminated against anymore.
Well, if this
something
guy,
like that.
He has a case and he can win. How does he want things to change? He wants to be like
He wants to be able to call any talk show, make up a name and an age, lie to the screener, get on the air, and say whatever he wants, no matter how insane he sounds on the phone.
What would you have, like a 40-year-old hour and a 50-year-old hour and a 60-year-old hour?
No, he wants to be able to call anytime he wants to. It doesn't matter. He has the right to get on and be heard. And that's he's going to make law. That's what he's telling people. He's going to make law.
Wow.
He's giving interviews to people telling them, we're going to make law.
Old guys.
I mean, how would you like to be married to him and paying all the legal fees? By the way, he has to pay our legal fees now that he lost. How would you like to be Mrs. Huh?
That'd be bad news.
Yeah, but look, the case got thrown out. And under California law, he has to pay our legal bills. I wonder how Hood feels about that. We're making law. You're not making anything. You're just making a mess. We're going to make law. We're taking it all the way to the Supreme Court. We're doing whatever we got to do. Jesus. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM.
Are you beautiful or not?
Yes, I'm beautiful.
Really? Are you a 9 or a 10?
A 9 or a 10?
Yeah.
Size?
No. On a scale of 1 to 10, you idiot.
The Tom Leykis Show.
It's the Tom Leykis Show from Seattle. At 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number here. I should tell you that I'm looking out the window of the Buzz studio here in Seattle. I am looking straight at the historic Paramount Hotel over on Pine Street. And that is where we're going to be doing our Boys Night Out show come Friday, September 30th at 8:30 p.m. We did it in L.A. It's sold out. And it was outrageous. It was just guys in the audience, just guys on stage, saying stuff we could never, ever get away with here. Never. Trust me when I tell you. Bobby Slayton is our headliner. By the way, I'm the producer and promoter of this show. Proud to say I am. And it's a night of male bonding. It's just for the guys. Leave the chicks at home. And girls, please do not buy tickets to this show. That's all I can say. We've had enough whining. We've had enough bitching. And we hate going to comedy clubs and having you go, hey, you think that's funny, huh? You think that's funny? Don't be a pussy, boys. Do not bring her to the show. Take the guys. And she should have no problem with you going because, after all, it's guys. Nothing but guys. There'll be 2,800 guys at the Paramount Theater on Friday, September 30th. Would you like to be with us? It's historic. It's outrageous. And tickets are now available if you call this telephone number, 206-529-4051. 206-529-4051. All the details are on our website, blowmeuptom.com. It's going to be Friday night, September 30th, Paramount Theater here in Seattle. 206-529-4051 or go to blowmeuptom.com for tickets. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. You may have seen my name in the news. And here I am at the butt end of a frivolous lawsuit that has been thrown out of now the California Supreme Court. And the person suing me is claiming he's going to take it all the way to the Supreme Court. And I hope he put his money away when he was the voice of Pac-Man on TV back in the 80s. Because that's going to cost a lot of money to go to the Supreme Court. And then lose. Let's say hello here to Ray on the Tom Leykis Show.
Hey, how you doing there, Leykis?
I'm okay.
Yeah. I'm not going to say a long-time listener, first-time caller. I've been a long-time listener of yours, but I've called before. Listen, man, you know, I used to be a big fan of yours, but now you're coming off like a fat, whiny hypocrite, man. If you at least walk the walk, not just talk the talk.
Well, instead of going around generalizing, let's hear the specifics. I'm listening.
I hear these punks calling your phone line and saying that old people this and old people... Hey, I'm 41. I can out-drink, I can out-smoke, I can out-bang any punk that calls your show.
Well, pal, first of all, start with this. We're not talking about people 41. We're talking about somebody who's suing me who's 68 years old. 68! That is old.
What made that person... I'll admit he's pathetic, but what made that person pathetic was that he's taking you to court. Yeah, that's pathetic. That's big-time pathetic. Right?
Yes.
But, hey, any age that anyone is has just as much a right to party as anyone else.
No, they don't, and the California Supreme Court agrees with me. They don't. Rights are something that are enunciated in law.
Yeah.
So you saying he has the right? Guess what? He doesn't have the right. You're wrong. No, he doesn't have the right to get on the air, and we have the right to say he can't.
Yeah, that's sad. That right there is sad.
That's the law.
But the thing that
California Supreme Court affirmed my right to screen out people like that.
Well, but see, that's the thing, is when you're going to fight like a man, you know what I mean? Don't come off with this whiny stuff. I'm going to get you off the air, click, you hang up, and that's it. If you're going to be a man, if it's not face-to-face...
Guess what? You know what? There are just sometimes people call this show who are not interesting to the general audience, or they don't fit the target demographic. They don't sound like the kind of people we're trying to appeal to.
Now, I agree.
That's it.
About 90% of the stuff you talk about, like the women and like in the jobs, like in this and that. By the way, you did a show not too far back about racial profiling and stuff, like for terrorists. I agreed with you on that one. You did a show about the women being in the fire department, the cops and stuff. I agreed with you on that one. Where I started getting into trouble with you sometimes is, like, every time you have a guest or somebody on your show, you take it easy.
Because they are guests on my show.
And you turned into this, like...
They are my guests. I treat them like guests in my home.
Yeah, well, come on, man. But
this is not 60 Minutes. I'm not Mike Wallace or Morley Safer. I don't bring people in here and beat them over the head.
Nah, I'm not talking about beating them over the head. But I'm not talking about bending over for them either. Like,
so, look, somebody who takes the time to drive down to Culver City and come to our pathetic little closet to come on the air with me will be treated like royalty. People who sit there and hit the send button on their cell phone are not going to be accorded the same courtesy.
Yeah, well, I'm not on the cell phone. I waited a good long while to get on the phone with you.
And you got on.
I lived my life according to Leykis 101, even before Leykis 101.
Great.
Oh, yeah. I call your show a couple times with, opinions and stuff like that. And next thing you know, you're clowning me for living my life Leykis 101. No, you know what I mean? I'm the one that says, hey, you know what? I'm not going to get on here and say women aren't worth nothing. But, hey, they got their place. Now, when I say the guy over there, basically he can do whatever he wants, what the hell ever he wants to get what he's going to, the goal, that golden rule there, at least that sweet spot, no holds barred as far as I'm concerned. Right? And I've mentioned things like, like what you say, once you've gone out with a girl 3 times, if she ain't giving it up, chuck her to the side. Now, I said, hey, keep her along, man, string her along, because some of the best ladies you'll ever get are from her friends. You know what I mean?
All right, but again, now you're taking the show into all these other topics that we didn't really plan on talking about during this hour. But thank you anyway. Why don't you have the balls to stand up to me? We're making law! 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. This is Dave on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom. So I just turned into the show. I wasn't listening the whole time, but I noticed you're a little hesitant to say somebody's name over the air this time.
Well, if you were listening earlier, you would know why I'm not saying his name.
Well, you're a real... When our friend up in Seattle or Washington or whatever played Hi-Yo Silver with the little horsey up there, but...
Again, you were not listening when I said the reason I'm not saying his name. Do you want to hear the reason?
But where's your integrity?
Do you want to hear the goddamn reason?
Give me the reason, Tom.
Jesus Christ.
Well, it just seemed like you were on such a witch hunt to reveal that guy's name up there in Seattle. Because
the name is available if you want to see it. I said earlier in the hour, by the way, I said everything I have to say about this person. And the fact is, the name is in the Los Angeles Times if you want to see it. This person is filing a lawsuit to get publicity for himself. That's my opinion. And because that's my opinion, I am not going to cooperate and give him any.
You know, I've been a big fan of Leykis 101 the whole time.
Yeah.
The whole Seattle thing. That, you know, it just seemed like you were on a witch hunt to reveal that guy's name. And really, I mean, you know, when you think about it.
We revealed the guy's name because the newspapers saw fit to publish all the salacious details of the story and then pretend to be tasteful by not publishing his name.
Hey, but for being a hero for mankind, I thought that was a pretty unheroic thing to do. Because for one thing, I mean, not to change the subject, but that.
Well, again, if we don't need to know that guy's name, we didn't need to know the story at all, did we?
Well, I mean, it shows up in obituaries, anyways. But does that mean you?
It did not show up in the obituaries. The fact that the guy was having sex with a horse was not in his obituary.
But does that mean you have to broadcast it for all of your listeners? What about if the guy...
You mean Kenneth D. Pinion? Yes.
What about the grief they're going to have to take going to school every day?
I guess Ken Pinion should have thought about what it was like when your family finds out you're a horse effer.
You know,
he should have thought about that before the horse inserted himself, okay? That's what he should have done.
You don't have skeletons. All I know is...
Well, believe me, if there's skeletons in my closet, you already know about them. I have talked about...
Names, big guy naming
That's
names.
right.
Now you're quiet.
That's right.
You're quiet. Somebody shut you up.
Now, you didn't shut me up at all, you moron. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I'm not saying this guy's name because I'm not giving him any goddamn publicity. That's what he wants, and he's not getting any.
Well, you know what? Maybe this is karma biting you in that big fat butt of yours.
Well, there you go. But amazing, that big fat butt keeps you listening day in and day out.
I like everything you got to say. You know what?
There you go.
It's like Leykis 101.
There you go.
Because I actually get laid. Tom, what about you?
I actually get laid too, pal. You should only know.
No, I'm a fan. You know what? I don't want to just bag on you, Tom. I am a fan of yours. But
yeah, you do.
It was really low. I thought it was really low.
Well, you see, but your agenda had nothing to do with the guy I'm talking about today. Your agenda had to do with the horse effer from Enumclaw, and you tried to turn today's topic into that topic. That's what you're doing.
Tuned in like I do every
It's an old talk radio tactic of callers like yourself to commit mutiny on the air by trying to change the topic of what we're talking about to some other topic. You have nothing to say about this topic. You wanted to talk about a topic from several weeks ago about a guy who was having sex with a horse.
Well, this is just an example of how your actions come back and bite you in your butt.
How so?
Because it was unmanly. Some of the times...
What does that have to do with what does it have to do with this frivolous lawsuit? It has nothing to do with people having sex with horses. Nothing.
You're waving your flag for men and you're
right.
Men against
That's
men
right.
and all this stuff.
That's right.
It all comes down to irresponsible big mouth.
I have not heard any evidence of irresponsibility. What did I do on this show that was irresponsible?
Think a little bit.
I want to know what I did that was irresponsible. I want to hear the specific thing I did.
By mentioning that guy's name in the past...
Kenneth Pinion.
By mentioning his name, you probably brought a whole mess of grief upon his family.
Boo-hoo-hoo.
Whoever else is related to him.
Ken Pinion's horse should have kept it in his pants.
I'm a man, and I wouldn't do anything to make somebody else's little kids suffer or somebody else.
You know what? I am not the one who inserted a horse into my anus, okay? I didn't do that. The person who did that should have thought about what that's going to mean to his family before he did it.
Maybe one day when we find you lying dead with it.
So the Pinion family wouldn't be embarrassed and humiliated and horrified by the reaction. You gotta be kidding me, pal. Send us an email. Our email address is my name. It's Tom at blowmeuptom.com. Tom at blowmeuptom.com. For tickets to Boys Night Out, Friday, September 30th, call 206-529-4051 or go to blowmeuptom.com.
The Tom Leykis Show.